Erased Destiny 2, The Knower. Chapter 7, One Too Many. Although the vampires kept watch throughout the night, Cyril did not sleep a wink either. Perhaps it was because a potentially bloodthirsty undead passed by his only son every few minutes. As soon as the sky began to turn light, the man got up.
She won't get up until noon. Sleep? There may not be an opportunity later. We will ensure your safety.
And who will protect us from you?
Do you think staying conscious will help you in any way?
The female vampire materialized right behind Cyril, tied his arms with one move, his legs with another, and in the same minute returned to her previous place. She felt offended by his words. She was the leader of the Seekers, protecting people in the palace every night and day, and still someone suspected her of doing wrong, only because she was a vampire. By living in the palace for last 20 years, Sonja forgot that the world outside was not as open-minded as it should be.
We are not interested in your blood, and we are not going to bite you. You may rest easy.
The conversation, although quiet, woke Topaz and Jargon. The hunter went to get water, and Jargon looked at the sleeping Marigold. It was rare for him to get up before her, even rarer for her paleness to exceed his own.
What did you do to her? Did you suck all the blood out of her?
You are more obsessed with blood than we are. Old vampires only need 1 wineglass a month. It was my attacks that affected her. I didn't know that she would suffer worse because of being alive.
You have a lot of fun in this palace. In old-fashioned Sintra, no one attacks their own teammates, especially with some unspecified weapon.
Uzumaat got to his feet. Cyril wanted to stand between him and Jargon, but he fell over. Jargon crouched down to free his father, and the vampire turned around and left the camp. Even without Jargon's jabs, he didn't feel right. He didn't want to lose control of himself. It happened so rarely to him. Why yesterday, of all days? Why was he overcome with uncontrollable excitement every time he was with Etien? Because he knew she would bring him back. A cursed spiritual form caused by experiments on his own body. After gaining immortality, the young, overconfident boy had stopped fearing anything. And that was his downfall. If he didn't become a shadow, his body lost strength. It aged at the same rate as mortals. Uzumaat kicked a stone that rolled across the grass. In the past, Naomi had saved his skin, but with each passing year, her flame grew dimmer. The vampire did not want to think about death, about the end of his adventure. He did not want to, yet more and more often such obsessions visited his head. Etienne's presence gave him at least another 50 years. But what was that to someone who had lived for an eternity? What if Etien died because of him, or because of her own weakness? She took risks like she used to, even though she couldn't shape the world around her. Sonja left the camp and ran after Uzumaat. Topaz and Cyril looked at each other. They couldn't count on her protecting the team because she didn't really care about them. She fulfilled Etienne's will, and nothing more. Cyril reminded Jargon that he was supposed to go home, because Jargon wanted to stay, and in the same time, he couldn't find any reason for that. He allowed Nathan to take control over his body.
Let me stay till Marigold wakes up. I am worried about her.
Cyril agreed without further discussion and started preparing the breakfast. Nathan sat down near Marigold, took her hand and watched her face for some time. It was easier to fix undead Etien than alive Marigold. When Etien was hurt, it was enough to sit nearby, to touch her. Her body did the rest.
Why did she become so bossy and rude? Because of working in the court?
Cyril didn't know what to answer. How to explain Marigold-Etien coexistence in one body.
Or is it because of Etien? Did her personality dominate Marigold yet?
Do you know about Etien?
Yes, Pillas the mage told me. It made me go rampage. I am sorry. I know you had to pay for the damages I caused.
Nathan knew that Etienne's current behavior wasn't typical for her, so there was something else that influenced her. His best guess was that she was worried. Without her former power, with already conflicted and mostly useless team members, she had to do something about Tyrdam.
I am not sure. I didn't know Etien in her previous life, but I think she wouldn't be so popular if she was mean and cold. Maybe it is Marigold after all.
Etien is very kind, although rough. During our trips she helped anyone in need, people plagued with drought, people not paid for the job done, people wounded and left to die, defenseless animals. She brought to justice poachers, even though she lost time and money on doing so.
Dad, please, let me stay. I need to know. I need to understand what is going on here. You know about my feelings. Have mercy.
Cyril answered that it is up to Etien. He didn't mind Jargon's presence. Woke up, and as the first thing she checked on Marigold. Then she noticed absence of vampires.
Take her hand. Our magical power would restore her strength.
Yes, you are right. I remember my lessons on energy transfer. Someone as magical as Etien require a lot of energy to live, right? I remember when she killed kidnappers, she turned them into dust. According to Pillas, that is one way of getting life energy. Bad luck, we don't have any dead bodies to feed her.
You really care about her, don't you?
Sure I do. I am deeply indebted to her, not only for her teaching and protection. She saved my family once, saved my life after I was murdered by my uncle, and now she promised to save my father, sentenced to death. I am so grateful to her.
Yes, that was the Etien Nathan remembered. Always helping anyone in need. Saving people. Not taking a reward. She was happy that her power could be used for doing good, and that was enough for her. She saved him so many times that he almost lost a track of it. She was always there for him.
I feel sorry for her. She got a difficult mission, no resources, and she has us only to help her. As you saw yesterday, there is not much we can do.
At least we may try to make her life easier. By not arguing with each other, for example.
Tell this to the vampires. I am sure that before Marigold wakes up, there will be at least one argument with them.
Sonja found Uzumaat near a creek. He was sitting on grass, polishing his swords, as this calmed him down. She hugged him, but he wasn't in mood for her fondling.
Why didn't you tell me about Etien? That you found her?
I didn't find her. Aelin suspected that it could be Etien, but Zuzu forbade us from further investigation.
We are Velinard's subjects, not Zuzu's. You should always remember that. You know that my existence is coming to its end. Still, you kept me away from the only person who could save me.
I am sorry, very sorry. Please do not be angry with me. You know that being the leader of the Seekers was my dream all along. I do not want to get fired. If I was sure that it was Etien, I would notify you immediately.
Uzumaat knew that Sonja was lying to him. She was so jealous over him that she didn't think rationally anymore. But he was responsible for her. He had to try to bring her to her senses.
What if Zuzu starts a war with Velinard? You cannot have two masters at the same time. Zuzu is not a friend to us. She is weak, otherwise she would behave more violently. I am sure that it will end with some conflict.
What about Etien? Would she join us or Zuzu?
Etien said that she plans to seize the throne. That is why she needs our help, Gabriella's help. She is a part of our family. Velinard's dear friend. We must support her, not only because of my health problems, but because it is beneficial for our Lord. Please, Sonja, be nice to her. Do not make her angry.
They returned to the camp, only to see Marigold still sleeping. Marigold didn't wake up until after 10 o'clock, tired, sore, and hungry, and above all, thirsty for something stronger than water. She was even willing to drink wound disinfectant if no one on the team had brought wine. She looked around the camp, which was full of hidden and open animosities, filled with the sounds of an increasingly loud argument between Sonja and Uzumaat, an argument that was already giving her a headache.
I wasn't looking at him. You're crazy.
I know what I saw. If you do that again.
What made me agree to let the vampires participate? I must have been drunk. Did anyone take a wine? Cyril, thank you. You are saving my life.
You're awake. How do you feel?
Ma hugged Marigold. She was overwhelmed with joy. Without Etien, the camp became an awful place. Ten did not answer. She looked at the sketch of Tyrdam made by Cyril, which was much more accurate than her own. Almost as good as the engravings in books, even though the man only had a sharpened stick at his disposal. She felt sorry to leave such a successful map. She tried to memorize every street, every bridge, every watchtower. Above all, the location of buildings important for the success of the mission, such as the city dungeons, the castle, or the toll office. The bridges, warehouses, docks.
It has certainly changed a bit. I haven't been to Tyrdam lately.
An admirable memory and spatial orientation. Thanks to you, I remembered one of the flights over the city and will be able to create a portal.
The girl reached for the stick held by Cyril. She wanted to point out a place she remembered, but her attention was drawn to the abrasions from the rope on the man's wrists. Still red.
This is no Velinard's castle, nor the Crystal Palace. Either you start behaving according to the generally accepted rules, either you spend the mission in the land of death. Am I clear?
Yes, lady.
Etien did not know what had caused the war that the Fourth had started. Was it the arrogance of the vampires, or the fear-based prejudice of the mortals? Velinard was reluctant to talk about this part of the two nations' shared history. The former ruler wondered whether the order in her castle was the result of fear alone, or whether it was also due to the respect for universal human values. Was her former authority enough to rule over such a diverse and already conflicted group? Or would it be better to divide her subordinates into two independent teams as soon as possible? Assign offensive tasks to the vampires, life issues to the mortals, and take care of the search herself? With a careless movement, she tied her hair with a strap. Although she was no longer filled with her former power, she tried to radiate calm and confidence, and also an aura of death.
Gather around, my fellow travelers. We are discussing the mission.
She called out cheerfully, as if the previous exchange of words had not taken place at all. They all sat down around her, like they would during a tournament in the Eternal City. Back then, she had a well-trained and prepared team. Now she had a bunch of random beings at her disposal. The only thing that hadn't changed was the role that Etien played. Both then and now, she assigned tasks to her subordinates.
I wanted to apologize to you. Last night, instead of organizing an introductory evening, I tested my abilities. I forgot that you don't know each other, and that will cause tension.
Nobody expected the discussion to start like this. The expedition members looked at each other and lowered their heads. Surely it wasn't Etien who should apologize for the arguments.
So I'll start by introducing my companions from the Crystal Palace. What we didn't go through together. Luckily, I forgot most of it.
She smiled at Uzumaat to show that she clearly remembered his mistakes. The vampire smiled back, although his face was pained, as if he was suffering from indigestion. Etien instinctively cast Undead Healing, which only deepened the suffering on the man's face. Spiritual, because physically there was nothing wrong with him.
Uzumaat, the best warrior I have ever met. He is a very old vampire, and I guarantee that he will not bite any of you. He is addicted to adrenaline, and it is my job to make sure he does not get bored with our tasks. Uzumaat is responsible for eliminating anyone who tries to stop us.
As always, at your service, your magnificence.
But that one keeps looking at our throats.
Weren't you supposed to go home?
Etien pretended not to have heard the out-of-turn sentences. Everyone did the same, except for the people who were criticizing each other.
Sonja, the best archer and tracker, the leader of the Seekers. Her only disadvantage is her young age. This makes her overly emotional, and she needs to eat more often. Sonja will look for the missing mayor of Tyrdam, or what's left of him. She will eat out, certainly not at home. Cyril.
The girl paused for a moment, causing the man's heart rate to increase slightly. She liked to tease him.
He is our guide to Tyrdam, and also the quartermaster. We leave all household matters to him. Uma accompanies us because of her powers. Her magic will certainly come in handy. There's Tolpes left. Your job is to make sure that no one eliminates Cyril and that no one discovers our base. When Tolpes isn't busy babysitting, he'll look for the fire mages, Elstar's henchmen. They might be hanging around after the rebellion of Tyrdam.
The hunter nodded. The mages were usually easy to distinguish by their clothing, hairstyle, and unusual mannerisms. Etien did not introduce Jargon. She did not count the boy as one of the expedition participants. She tolerated his presence in the camp, but nothing more. She rinsed her throat with water and spat out the liquid full of silver flecks.
Cyril, please tell us how to get to Tyrdam.
In the past, the easiest way was to go in under the cover of night. Then they installed a grate on the river, which they lower at night. The gates remain closed at night, and during the day, anyone entering is subject to a thorough inspection. There are 7 gates, 3 on the desert side and 4 from the Crystal Palace. All are closely guarded.
Etien did not listen. She tried to heal herself. Although she did not feel hot, rather cold, her hands were trembling and her body was consumed by an unknown disease. She sat closer to the fire, which did not improve her condition. She secretly took a cold remedy, which main advantage was its high alcohol content. She didn't have time to properly treat her ailments, because that would call Uzumaat's loyalty into question. Despite the presentations, explanations, and seemingly cheerful atmosphere, nothing in the camp had changed. Jargon was snapping at Sonja and Sonja at Ume. Everyone, except Etien, tried to keep a safe distance from each other, and Uzumaat was polishing his swords. He always did that whenever he had to listen to long discussions, but nobody except Etien and Sonja knew that. They interpreted the undead's behavior as a preparation for the elimination of those who prove useless.
And the walls?
High and steep. Guarded. Small arrow slits that make it impossible to enter. Archers shoot at anything that approaches the walls, and at objects that fly too close to the city.
Etien narrowed her eyes. Hazy images filled her mind. Silhouettes of flying monsters guarding Tyrdam's sky. She felt the growing doubt of her fellow mortals. No one really knew Etien. No one had reason to trust her, to entrust her with their lives. The girl felt that the longer they did nothing, the more the mood deteriorated. So, regardless of her own well-being, she decided to pack up camp as soon as possible.
You can't teleport to Tyrdam. They've used a barrier similar to the one the Crystal Palace mages used.
Give me the intel you have. What did the Seekers determine? What is the current situation in the city?
I don't know much. Zuzu didn't order us to monitor the situation, and our post in Tyrdam had been destroyed 4 months ago.
Etien tried to not look angry. She was mad at her daughter, who did nothing, who didn't know how to use her resources, who sent her mother to the lion's den.
What are we going to do with the horses? The non-magical ones?
Don't worry about mine. It'll jump into the amulet.
Etien was so uninterested in the magic of life that she spent less time than was appropriate, even on researching how those spells interacted with other elements. When necessary, she would ask 8 to summon one creature or another. She did not know that non-magical mounts could be hidden in amulets. She never owned a non-magical steed. The hunter spread a rag mat with symbols drawn on it on the ground. He placed his horse on it, put an amulet on its back, and after a while the steed evaporated. Etien reached for a piece of wood that had fallen on the mat. It had not changed its shape. There was no way of knowing that it was holding a living creature inside.
Lena taught me that. But I only have one amulet.
Sonja will go to the palace for 2 more and alcohol. We will march into the city over the surface of the water during the day, so as not to care about the bars. 1 water mage will be enough for that, and we have 2. If the crossing proves impossible, the vampires will penetrate the city at night and open the gate for us.
Sonja disappeared in a cloud of smoke, and Etien stared at the sketched model of the city. Trapped in the body of a 16-year-old, she was afraid for the first time that she would not be able to complete the assigned mission. She was afraid that she would not be able to keep everyone with her alive.